Hi everybody, it's 10 a.m. here in Vancouver, so let's begin. Welcome to our session today about professional masters programs from UBC's Faculty of Forestry and Environmental Stewardship. It's really great to see so many people here and arriving. If you haven't already, let us know where you're listening from. It's always great for us to see and hear where you are. Before we begin today's session, I do just want to acknowledge that we're broadcasting today from the traditional ancestral and unceded territory of the MUFL. It's on the MUFL's traditional lands that UBC Vancouver is located, and you'll often hear us give land acknowledgements during your time at UBC. So I'd encourage you, if you haven't already, read more about the MUFL and about the history of these lands. It's a really great way to feel more connected to this place. We've got a really great session for you today. We're going to be talking about our 4 professional masters programs and hearing from the program leaders from all of those programs. One of the things that we also want to do is answer your questions. So any questions that you have today, please post them into the Q&A. So in the Q&A, you can post your questions. You can also upvote questions. So if you see a question that somebody else has posted and you really want to hear the answer to that one, make sure that you upvote it. And we're going to spend a lot of time today answering your questions. So do let us know any that you have. We'll turn the chat off soon. But if you haven't already, let us know where you're listening from. I can see we've got people here from Washington in the US, Burnaby, Cape Town. That's amazing. Abbotsford, Ghana. Amazing. So wherever you're listening from, it's a really warm welcome from us. Thank you for considering UBC for your graduate studies. UBC is a really amazing place to study and to live and to be during your graduate studies. We're consistently ranked as one of the top 40 universities in the world. And that's really based on all of the research that's happening, as well as some of the amazing graduate programs that we have here. So we have over 350 graduate programs across our 11 faculties. So you'll be stepping into a really dynamic and really exciting graduate student community. We actually have over 11,000 graduate students at UBC Vancouver, and around 38% of those are from outside of Canada. So around 38% are international students. They come from well over 100 different countries. So we have a really diverse and exciting graduate student community here at UBC Vancouver. The Faculty of Forestry is really, the top place in Canada to study forestry. We have a range of really innovative programming, excellent facilities that we're going to hear about today, and all of that's within a really great community within the faculty. So small program sizes, and the faculty is relatively small compared to our other faculties here at UBC. But that's one thing that makes for a really great community within the Faculty of Forestry. But without further ado, let's hear in more detail about our 4 professional masters programs, starting with the Master of Geomatics for Environmental Management. So I'll pass it over to Kathleen now, and don't forget to let us know your questions as we go. But Kathleen, over to you.
Thanks, Shane. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here today. So I'm Kathleen Copeland. I'm the coordinator of the MGEM program, or the Master of Geomatics for Environmental Management. It is a sort of 9-month master's where students arrive on campus towards the end of August, where we start the program with an intensive week and a retreat for the cohort. And then we wrap up and students submit their final assignments in April. So the MGEM program aims to provide early career and sort of those looking to change careers, a geomatics, geospatial, and remote sensing toolkit and sort of upgrades. It aims to fill in gaps that might exist perhaps in undergraduate degrees, and really focuses on providing sort of technical, computer, and analytical skills sort of within this geospatial, geomatics, and environmental management sphere and realm. So if you just go to the next slide. So we have some photos here. And so the first one here is just of our classroom space. So the MGEM program, like all of the CBMs, has we have our own dedicated classroom space that we get to use. And you can see that we have all of our monitors set up. And so it's a relatively new space. We're really enjoying it. And then the other photos here are just from a couple other of our events. So although the program is mostly computer-based, we do get out into the field where it makes sense. So we've got a couple pictures here from one of our sort of drone demos where we get to fly some big and expensive drones and get to sort of look at the results of the data collected from that. And then also in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a picture from our annual career conversations event where we bring in industry professionals to just talk and network with the cohort and sort of give their perspectives on where the geospatial job market is at. So we, aim to make sure that we provide a world-class learning environment for all of our teaching to happen in. And, even though this program is perhaps kind of geared towards up-and-coming environmental analysts or consultants, sort of people who are data-driven, and I would say the program is, for people who really enjoy getting into the nitty-gritty of some data. If perhaps you are a bit more sort of policy or bigger scale focused, you might be better suited into the next program that we're going to talk about that Terry is going to talk about. So Terry, over to you.
Thank you, Kathleen. So my name is Terry Sutherland. I'm the director of the Master of International Forestry program. It's a 12-month program, 8 months of which are focused on classroom activities, and then subsequently, in order to prepare students for the great world outside, a 4-month period of either directed studies for those particularly who want to go into follow up on research activities or enter academia, or placements or projects with international partners such as Center for International Forestry Research, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the Global Environmental Facility, Global Landscapes Forum, those type of institutions where you gain experience with hands-on practical internships and placements. The program is focused on international forestry and underpinning the role of forestry in international processes such as UNFCCC, climate change, poverty alleviation, and forests as a societal contribution to sustainable development. Primarily, in terms of coursework, we focus on a wide range of experiential learning with instructors who've got a lot of international experience, bringing to bear case studies and essentially highlighting the realities of international forestry as it plays out. And courses include integrated natural resource planning, environmental policy and governance, international diplomacy, negotiations and institutions, social forestry and indigenous forestry, taking into account the role of indigenous people, local communities, in international forest management, natural resource economics, forest business enterprise, and leadership management workshops. And the jewel in the crown, if you like, of the courses, we have recently instituted a international field trip to Costa Rica, in which many of the issues that are taught in class are highlighted: payments for environmental services, indigenous forest management, etc. It's a great period for the students to actually learn from the practice of forestry, basically the concepts that they've been exposed to in the classroom. Next slide, please. So on the top left there and the top right, images of our field trip to Costa Rica. As a teak plantation, understanding the complexities of land use transitions from natural forest to plantations and the social and environmental implications of that. On the right is a restoration concession coordinated by the International Model Forest Network, the Latin America program. Bottom left, obviously two classroom views, lots of group work and breakout groups. It's not just a didactic approach of you listen to lecturers. It's very much an interactive course emphasis in all of the courses taught. And on the bottom right, we also do some hands-on practical experience here in British Columbia. And here you see some students who are doing tree planting and indigenous landscape concession here in British Columbia. At this point, I'll hand over to Nicholas. Yes.
We're going to Anna. Anna's on.
Hi, I'm Anna Tobiash. I'm the program coordinator of the Masters of Sustainable Forest Management, or MSFM, as we often refer to it. And this is also a 9-month course-based master's. And I would say this one is often very attractive to people that are wanting to work as a forester or like a land manager in different jurisdictions and different contexts. This is an accredited program, so it does provide you with the eligibility to become a registered professional forester, both in British Columbia as well as other jurisdictions in Canada and the US, because being a forester can be a regulated profession similar to doctors and lawyers, engineers in certain jurisdictions. This program focuses both on learning about forests and forest management at the stand, site, individual forest level, but also looks at landscape level. We can go to the next one. And I'd say what really stands out with MSFM is that it's a very applied, practical, course-based master's. We spend a lot of time in the field. Out of the 9 months, it's roughly about 1 month of the program that we spend in the field, and that is spread out throughout the duration of the 9 months. So we spend one of the very first weeks out in the interior, the southeast of British Columbia. And then later on in the fall, we spend 1 week at our coastal research forest, Malcolm Knapp Research Forest, where students develop a site plan that's actually implemented. And then later in the winter, we spend another week in a smaller community learning about landscape level planning. And then sprinkled throughout is lots of other field-based learning experiences. From here, I'll pass it on to Sarah.
Thank you so much, Anna. My name is Sarah Barron. I'm the program director for the Master of Urban Forestry Leadership program. We're a 13-month program, full-time in person. Urban forestry is inherently a very interdisciplinary profession and discipline, and so we really welcome students from diverse backgrounds to apply to the program. Because of this, the first 2 months of the program, July and August, are an online asynchronous course designed to bring everybody up to speed on what we mean by urban forestry and the urban forester's approach to developing green and resilient cities. Our program is designed to educate and empower the next generation of urban green professionals. We really believe that urban forestry is uniquely positioned to address some of the most pressing social and environmental challenges of our time. Our courses touch upon climate change, environmental justice, and the biodiversity crisis, for example. And we know that solving these really complex problems in our cities requires creativity, strategic thinking, and decision-making skills. And these are things we hone throughout and across the program through our various courses. We help students build expertise in balancing competing demands placed on urban forests, while embracing some of the newer innovations in planning and assessment to achieve better outcomes in urban forest management. Urban forestry is really growing as a profession. In the last 5 years, we've seen exponential growth in jobs calling out urban foresters, in professional accreditation in urban forestry, and our program is working with many of the organizations who are at the forefront of developing this really exciting field of practice. On the next slide, I'll share a little bit of our the sorts of things that we do. We do spend a lot of time out in the field. We are very lucky to be based at UBC in Vancouver, in a city and a region where urban forestry is being practiced very well. So we go out and have field trips in the city of Vancouver, Burnaby, North Vancouver, learning about some of the best practices in our region. We also have field experience. This year we're going to Montreal to learn from that city about what they're doing and leading in urban forestry. We also get to spend a lot of time on our campus looking at challenges of growing trees near where people are and balancing the competing demands of society, of people, of human needs, and the needs of trees to grow strong and healthy. I think that's enough for now. I'm really looking forward to answering your questions in more detail. So with that, I'm going to pass it along to Rebecca, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about how to apply for the program. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Kim, and I'm the admissions coordinators for the professional master's program. In the next few slides, I will cover the general admission requirements and application procedures for our professional master's program. So general admission requirements. Firstly, academic background is specific to the program. As explained by each program lead, academic background requirements is specific to program. And if you have any program-specific questions, feel free to reach out to the respective program coordinators or the program lead. GPA, the academic equivalent of a 4-year bachelor's degree with a minimum average in the B+ range in senior level courses. That's 300 and 400 level courses at UBC. If your credential is from a North American institution. For international credentials, we assess your cumulative GPA to ensure you meet the B+ standard. You can find detailed country-specific information on the graduate and postdoctoral studies website, and I will share the link in the chat box shortly after my presentation. English language proficiency test is required if prior degree is from a university outside of Canada, in which English is not the primary language of instruction. And the acceptable tests are TOEFL, IELTS, KIEL, and PTA. And I recommend you refer to the respective program page for the minimum score requirements for admission for each test. And I will share the link to different program in the chat box as well. Next slide, please. How to apply. So first, complete online application and pay application fee. To apply to the program, you are required to complete the whole application online by paying the application fee. The link to the application portal is available on our program webpage or the UBC Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies website. We do offer application fee waivers to students whose citizenship and their residential address are located in one of the world's least developed countries declared by UN. Second, provide scanned copies of official transcripts for all post-secondary institutions you have attended. Number 3, and then the next one is list 3 referees with minimum 1 academic reference required. It is important to note that our application system only sends the online reference submission page link to private or institutional email address. So free email domains such as Gmail, Hotmail, or Yahoo will not trigger the system to generate a unique link for online reference submission. So to expedite the reference submission process, we encourage you to list referees who have an institutional or private email addresses. If referee only has a free email account, they will instead receive instructions on how to submit a hard copy of the reference letter by mail to our office. And then send in your official language proficiency test results if applicable. And lastly, submit your supporting documents, including program questionnaire, letter of intent, and curriculum vitae. Next slide, please. For personal questions specific to your course situation, please contact us at forestry.cbm@ubc.ca. And sign up for our mailing list to keep up to date about upcoming events, program opportunities, and important deadlines. And our application deadline is February 15th, and your reference and supporting document deadline is February 25th. That's all from me, and I'll pass it on to Shane.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, everyone. So I'll leave this slide up for a minute so you can scan the link for the mailing list. And thanks everyone for posting some questions. We've got some great questions in already. So let's dive in. Let's do this one from TT first, which is about the Master of Geomatics for Environmental Management. So TT's wondering whether, because it's a shorter 9-month program, whether it's possible to do some teaching assistantship work during that time, and also whether the program is strictly course-based or if there's also time for research, like are there any research opportunities as well? Kathleen, would you want to take that one?
Yeah. So I'll answer about the TA opportunities to start with. And what I would say is that the MGEM program is a very intensive program, and the majority of our students find that the best way to succeed in the program is to put sort of all their time and energy into the program. So we don't restrict students from TA assistantships, but they can't conflict with any of the MGEM course times. But we also, I would say, like, don't encourage students to take them if just due to the sort of intensive nature of the program. And then whether the program is strictly course-based or includes research opportunities. So we consider this program 100% course-based. However, one of the courses, which is F-Core 599, which runs across both terms, does include a research component. And so that's the course where you build and develop a proposal during first term, and then you sort of enact that proposal during the second term in the program. It is a shorter and smaller in scale research project, of course, than what would be in a traditional thesis-based master's. But there are opportunities sort of within that program to go down a small research avenue. However, the largest restriction with that is because of the condensed nature of the program. We don't have time for primary data collection. So all of these projects have to work with data that has already been collected and already exists in sort of open source formats. Nicholas, is there anything that you wanted to add on to that?
No, great job, Kathleen. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen. Next question here from Tom about the Master of Urban Forestry Leadership. Tom's interested in what are the typical jobs that our students take or our graduates take, and are there companies to look into in Vancouver that have some connections with UBC?
Thank you. Great question, Tom. And I sort of hurriedly finished up my response to Paulina as well while I was doing this. I went through LinkedIn recently and looked at our alumni. The job titles that came up were urban forest planner, parks planner, urban forest supervisor, natural areas planner / supervisor, senior urban forester. So these are the types of roles and positions that many of our graduates are holding. A few have started their own successful businesses. In terms of our connections with the communities, we have really great connections with all of the local governments across the Lower Mainland, our region here, including the City of Vancouver. We get to meet them across the program. Actually, many of them are coming tonight for our big annual networking event, which we will have, a special MUFL time to meet with our industry sponsors. So in terms of sort of local government types of jobs, I feel confident that we're well covered to connect you with those local governments. And we have many of our graduates working across those areas, both locally and across the world. In fact, we also have a few private consultants that we're quite close with as a UBC urban forestry research community, and we get opportunities across the program to liaise with them as well. I hope that answers your question, Tom.
Thanks, Sarah. Can I just keep you as well? Because we had another question here from Abdul Lahi, who's particularly interested in the MUFL program and just interested to know, are there any funding opportunities for studying the program?
We're working on that. At the moment, we don't have a lot of scholarships. Our program is relatively new. We're working towards getting more funding, such as the MasterCard Foundation, in upcoming years. None of that is set in stone just yet. It's something that we have our eyes on and are working diligently towards finding more scholarship opportunities.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Next question from Marwan, who's interested in the MGEM program. They'd like to know, what are the typical MGEM course times? Is it possible to work in a traditional job while also studying towards the MGEM?
Yeah, so I'll take that one on. I would say it's not possible to have a traditional 40-hour-a-week job that runs 9 to 5 and do the MGEM program. Most of the courses start at 9 in the morning, and we sort of have the expectations that students will be spending like a standard business day, at least sort of doing work during the day. So any traditional 9 to 5 sort of job, it would conflict with all of the courses that we have. So that would not be possible.
Yeah, and I think any graduate program that you do, it's like having a full-time job just being on a graduate program. So, many of our graduate students do work part-time, but obviously you want to make sure that you get the balance right, because your main focus needs to be your graduate studies. Next question from Tom, which is great. Maybe we can all kind of chip in on this one if you can. He's asking about the references. What information are we looking for? I hope I haven't misinterpreted this, Tom. But what information are we looking for from the references in the application process? Would anyone like to jump in and start on that? When you're reading references from candidates, what are some of the things you're looking out for?
We're really keen to make sure you're strongly positioned to succeed in our programs. So we're looking for that nod that your referee thinks that you are suited to graduate studies in this type of environment. It's not necessarily anything specific. It's just that we think you'll thrive and succeed in this program. Is definitely what I'm looking at. I see Kathleen's got her hand up to add more to this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to echo a little like what Sarah has said. And I would say that also sort of looking for authenticity from your reference, that you are who you said you are, and presented through the other components of the application process. So looking to make sure that your reference is sort of corroborating the work that you've done and your ability to succeed.
That's nice. Anna or Terry, would you want to jump in on references?
The one thing I would add too is I look at like who your references are, and is there some diverse representation in the experiences that you've had to date, and is that shown in who you've asked to be your references?
Yeah, and just to reiterate, I think Anna's spot on. It's the diversity of references that's actually critical. Character references, academic references, professional references, just so we have the full suite of understanding who you are. Because at the evaluation stage, that's all we have. So as much information as you can provide, fantastic.
That's great, really insightful. Thanks everyone. Just while we're on references, Una is asking just a little bit about that process. Do we need letters or do we just need the contact information? Rebecca, could you just jump in and explain that process a little bit?
Yeah, so once you submit the email contact information as part of your application, they will be receiving a link to submit, which they will be able to fill out a questionnaire. So they will be asked to submit a confidential questions assessing the applicant's academic or professional backgrounds or relevant skills and their qualification and potential to succeed in the graduate programs. Also, they have an option to upload a free form reference letter as part of the application once they receive the link. So they have two options basically, to either fill out the form or submit the free letterhead reference letter.
Thanks, Rebecca. That's great. Paulina asks, is it possible to study a dual program, maybe MIF and MUFL, even if that takes longer to complete? Is that possible right now? I haven't heard of that yet.
Concurrent registration is not allowed.
Okay, okay. So you might need to
Fun
do
idea,
one and
though.
then
I think Terry and I are thinking these things through. At the moment, we don't have that, but you're right across the hall. So, Terry, do you want to jump in here?
Yes. I At the moment, no, there are no plans for a dual program. But if you wanted to take one program after the other in
Yeah,
successive years, that'd be great.
yeah, exactly.
and maybe I can just ask a question just leading on from that. Just across these four programs, like, is there much connection with each cohort? Like, do the students get to connect outside of class and things like that? If anyone wants to jump in and talk about that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think similar, this question about connecting in dual programs. A few years ago, we had similar asks from students, and so we created two courses that serve all of the professional masters together. So you're actually formally connected through two courses that run across the first term of winter and the second term of our semester. So there are formal connections as well as informal social opportunities.
Yeah,
That's
so we
great.
have a grad wellness facilitator coordinator who coordinates events outside their study program. We arrange like various social events outside their study program. So there are lots of activities for grad programs where they can connect to each other.
Thanks, Rebecca. And Rebecca, could you just answer this next question here from Rebecca? Also from Rebecca. They're interested in the MAF program. They just want to know, is the questionnaire embedded in the online application, or is that a separate form that we would complete and upload?
Yeah, it's a separate form, questionnaire form, which we will be able to download from the application portal, and you'll need to fill that out and submit as part of your application process.
Great, thanks for clarifying. So Kathleen, a question on MGEM, just asking, are there fieldwork opportunities included in the MGEM curriculum?
Broadly, no. We do go out into the field at the first part of the year, just to sort of, see the forest. We get to see the areas around the main sort of facilities at the coastal research forest that we have. But it is not a field-based course. It is not the goal. That's not the intent of the MGEM program. So there is not a lot of field opportunities within the program. We're not designed to sort of create students who have their drone license. Students want to pursue that on their own. They're more than welcome to, but we're not a data collection program.
Got it. Thank you. Next question from Tom is for Sarah. Tom asks, what are your favorite urban forestry projects that are currently being developed in Vancouver?
Thanks for the question, Tom. Personally, I'll answer a little bit more personally, maybe. But in the city of Vancouver itself, we had this great opportunity in October to go meet with the urban forestry folks working for the city. And they showed us this really interesting, very small, very grassroots plantings of climate adaptive trees. And so they're planting trees that should be good in future climates, and just seeing how they're doing right now. It's a very small project at the moment, but it was really great to see these new species being trialed in the city of Vancouver. So personally, because there were Gary Oaks, one of my favorite trees in that plantings, I was really excited about that. What I'm really proud of for the city of Vancouver is their Rain City strategy, where they're using, they're working with the engineers much more closely than they have in the past to create really interesting rain gardens, rain plantings, and tree plantings. And so we had the opportunity to visit some new silvocell plantings in a really industrial area in the city, where they're using some engineering budget to put trees in spaces that traditionally wouldn't have trees. So those are two examples of some of the things happening in the city of Vancouver.
Awesome, thanks. And next question, Terry, I know you're going to connect with Justice offline. They've got some really great and very in-depth questions, which is awesome. But maybe I could just cherry pick one of Justice's questions. They're asking, are there specific qualities or experiences that you're looking for in a candidate that would make them a strong fit for the program?
There's no one size fits all. I think the beauty of our program is that we encourage a diversity of applications from mid-career professionals to recent graduates. So it's basically commitment to the topic in hand, proven track record of academic excellence, but I'd say more also experiential backgrounds and making sure that your career thus far is oriented towards the outputs and the aspirations of the MIF program. But as I say, we take a huge diversity of applicants into our annual cohorts with a wide variety of academic and career experiences. And so, yeah, I just Justice, we've had quite a bit of communication on via email prior to this meeting. So just please keep in touch and I encourage you to apply and be considered along with everybody else.
Yeah, I think great questions, Justice, and I'm glad you're connected with Terry. It seems like you have some really great experience to offer. Excellent. So we're up to speed on the questions so far, but we're here for a little while longer. So please let us know any questions that you have. This is a great opportunity to hear directly from the team, to hear from the people who are going to be making admissions decisions about your application. So do let us know any questions that come up. Maybe Terry, I could ask you, while I have you, maybe just to talk a little bit about the trip to Costa Rica. Like, how long is that? Like, what does that look like? You mentioned there's group work and in as part of that trip. Like, how does that play out in practice?
Well, the first thing I should have mentioned is that there's no extra cost to the students for this particular field trip. It's included in the cost of tuition. So all students who are accepted onto the course automatically will be eligible to travel to Costa Rica. It's a trip now. We've just refined the duration. It's now going to be 11 days. Last year was 8, but that was not considered long enough. So it's 11 days in the field, and we visit active restoration concessions. We visit mangrove environments and talk to fisher folk about the pressures and challenges of managing mangrove environments. We're hosted by CATIE, the Spanish acronym. I'm terrible at it, but it's basically an international tertiary education institution that also does a lot of international research, and they basically coordinate our field sites and field visits. And it's a mixture of visiting actual concessions, as I mentioned earlier, teak plantations, natural forests. We do a deep dive into the national park system of Costa Rica, looking at their payments for environmental services program, and looking also at the international policy environments in which Costa Rica operates. So it's a whole stratum of different activities which goes on, and it's just a fantastic opportunity to see so many of the things that we talk about in the classroom in the flesh. And one of my favorite parts of the trip is that we visit Nicoya, which is a blue zone, which has one of the largest numbers or proportions of people who live to over 100. And there are people wrangling, that's the word, cows on horseback, age 98 plus. It's just an amazing place to witness some of these septuagenarians out there in the field really doing it and learning from their lifestyle. So that's an added sort of cherry on the top.
That sounds incredible, and that's wonderful that cost is incorporated into the tuition cost as well. That's great to hear. Thanks, Terry. Anna, maybe I can just bring you in as well. I know we've got other questions coming in, but Anna, you mentioned that the MSFM really attractive for foresters and land managers, and there's a certification element as well. Could you just talk a little bit more about that? And are students sort of stepping right out of the program into jobs? Like, what does that sort of career progression look like from the program?
Yeah, we have really high success rate of students entering jobs right away. At this point in the year, we already have like many of the current students that already have jobs lined up. whether that's in British Columbia or other places in Canada, in the US. And yeah, they can go a really wide range of kind of areas within forestry. It very much is an interdisciplinary field. And so you have people that will go more like the policy and economic side of things, maybe working for governments at various levels. You have people that really just they want to be in the field and maybe from this program spend a bit more time in more of like a technologist role right away just to get that field experience. There's yeah, it's quite a diverse profession, and I think we're also seeing this profession like changing quite a lot right now too. And lots of our graduates are moving into like the wildfire space, wildfire risk reduction work. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great. No, that's awesome. Thanks for that. We've got a few more questions coming in here. The first one's from Tom, who asks like how much can a master's degree compensate for a sub B plus GPA, and also their work experience as well. And I know he wants to know like how many people we would admit who maybe are sub B plus. I mean, we wouldn't. We wouldn't share that sort of data, but I will say, and I know Rebecca can jump in on this as well. We do take a very holistic view of your application. So we're going to be looking at your master's degree, your degree. We're looking at your experience, what you've done, the quality of your questionnaire, your letter of intent, the quality of your references. We will be taking all of those things into consideration. But Rebecca, is this one that would be better to taken offline and connect with you with more time?
Yeah, so we would actually need to see the whole application package, including your transcript and everything. So we can't really say whether you meet the minimum admission requirements. And even if you don't meet the minimum requirements, sometimes students get admitted based on their other aspects of their application. So we will actually need to see the whole package to assess your admissibility.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. But I think you have some great experience that could be helpful in the application, Tom. And Rebecca, if I can just keep you as well, Paulina asks like, what is the procedure after we've submitted the application? So what does that process look like? Once someone has submitted.
So once you make the payment for application and once the application is submitted, your referees will get their link or instructions to submit their references. And once that is completed, the reference part, we will review your application package and send it to the admission committees, and they will assess and review, evaluate, and we make the offers out sometime in mid to end of March, and sometimes late offers are made in April too. So that's
and there's no interview as part of the process, so students don't need to worry about a one-on-one interview, or do we sometimes interview candidates?
Sometimes. I know MIF, Terry sometimes hosts an interview with this prospect. So.
Excellent. So good to know that could be part of the process for you as well. So that's great. Okay, let's see. A question here from Rebecca for the MIF program. They would like to know which kind of policy is given the most emphasis with regard to MIF. I'm not sure about that. Terry, can you jump in on that one?
Sure, I can. Yeah. No individual policy is given more emphasis than another, but we talk about international agreements such as the Convention of Biodiversity, climate change agreements in the context of forestry. And it's essentially, we touch on as wide a spectrum of international policy processes as possible that really have an impact on forestry and vice versa.
Excellent, great. Question from Marwan about MGEM program. What kind of jobs do graduates typically take after graduating from the MGEM?
So we have quite a wide range of sort of titles that our alumni and recent alumni have post-program. The most common ones would be things like a GIS analyst or a GIS spatial analyst. We also have, students with titles like Geomatics Specialist, Remote Sensing Specialist, GIS Consultant, Project Development Advisor. So a wide variety of sort of different titles. And I would like to sort of emphasize that it's important that these titles are also spread across a sort of diversity of different industries. So we have students in, consulting, private and commercial. Some are working with NGOs. Some stay in academia. And just sort of across a wide range of employer groups. So some of our alumni end up being more focused on ecology. Some of them end up being more focused on the data processing side. Some of them are more integrated within forestry. So we have one person who's working more on the urban side of and urban management. So our students and alumni are really sort of able to take the MGEM degree and leverage their own individual experiences or interests and sort of find different niches within different industries and leverage the skills that we provide within the MGEM program. So those titles are definitely not exhaustive as well. I could go on for a long time about the different roles that our alumni have. So there's a wide range.
That's great. So there's a lot happening, a lot of great opportunities there. That's really nice to hear. Una, I'm not sure about this question, but let me pose it to the panel because Una's interested in what are sort of the unique intern opportunities that might be available to students after graduation. Like I'm guessing that students would be moving into sort of full-time jobs as opposed to internships. So I mean, once you've graduated from these programs, you are going to be employable, ready to take the next step in your career. So it wouldn't be an internship; you would be going straight into that first sort of graduate job. Okay, but do jump back in, Una, if I've misinterpreted that question. So a question here from Paulina for the MIF and MUFL programs. What makes your programs different from similar programs offered at other universities? So great question. Terry, would you want to go first on MIF?
I think it's hard to introduce any bias in this process. But I mean, essentially from the MIF program, I guess what I can say is that we have a unique instructor team who are deeply embedded in wide international experience. And I think that's what gives us a comparative advantage. Many of us have spent many, many years as practitioners of international forestry in the field or in international policy processes. Peter's worked a lot in the international arena. I've worked in the tropics for 30 years on international forestry issues. Jeanette Volcan has spent a lot of time working on indigenous and community issues, particularly in Latin America, but also elsewhere. And Elaine Williamson, who teaches business and economics, it comes rooted from a business and economics perspective. So we bring all of us bring real world experience to the program.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Incredible depth of experience and range. Sarah, what do you think on the MUFL program?
Because urban forestry is this emerging discipline, there are few programs in the world that are course-based programs focused specifically on urban forestry. So we are quite unique in our specific focus on urban forestry and being course-based and being only 14 months long. Similar to MIF, we have a pretty broad network. Our instructional staff and guest lecturers come from across the world as Are
you still there, Sarah? Okay, I think Sarah's just paused for the moment, so we can come back to her in a moment on that one. Rebecca, oh, Sarah, you're back. Sorry, you just paused for a moment there. I don't know if you wanted to finish.
Apologies. Just I don't know where it's cut out. It looked fine to me. My apologies, everyone. Yeah, we're just unique in the world in terms of our length, our course-based focus, and being urban forestry specific as a program. And we are quite connected globally to urban forest experts.
Excellent. No, that's great. Thank you. Thanks so much. A question here, Rebecca, you might be able to help with. Tunrayo asks, like, what's the average number of applicants admitted for each program from the MasterCard's Foundation Scholarship? Are we getting many of those applicants, and do we get many of them in our programs?
Yeah, so we're uncertain about the number of applications for MasterCard Foundation Scholarship, but I know it's very competitive, and the allocation or the seat number for each program varies each year. So you would want to contact the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship Office directly. Ask that question, and I can share the contact information in the chat box as well.
Oh, thanks, Rebecca. That's really helpful. That's great.
If I may add, with my MasterCard hat on, this year the allocation is 7 students for MIF, I think 5 for MGEM and 3 for MSFM. And we're, as Sarah mentioned earlier, we're currently negotiating for 3 to 5 scholarships for the 2027 intake. And as Rebecca mentioned, this is a highly competitive program. So as an example, this year we had 11,450 applicants for 39 positions or places on campus here at UBC. So it's highly competitive. Yeah, I still would encourage people to apply. It's a fantastic program if you are successful.
Excellent. No, thank you for sharing that. That's great. So we've got about 9 or 10 minutes to go. So any final questions that you've got, do let us know. I'll actually stop sharing my screen just so you can see us a little bit better. Hopefully that's clearer for you at home. Another great question from Justice Terry. Just interested in knowing what way the MF program could become an ideal platform for me to build on my technical background in Ghana and develop the skills necessary to contribute to international forest policy after graduation.
I think, again, I need to probably have a one-on-one with Justice. He's asking very specific questions about his own career aspirations. So, Justice, if you can hear me, I will definitely reach out and we'll have a one-on-one Zoom in the next few days.
Thanks, Terry. That's brilliant. And I will say to all of you, like it's really unusual for professors like Terry to be this available to have conversations and connect. So this is a great opportunity. I know you can reach out to any of our panelists today, and they'll help. And that is, I will say, you know, I work with lots of different graduate programs. And it is unusual to have this level of connection. So don't miss out on that. If you do have those more detailed questions, don't hesitate to reach out and we'll help if we can. A question here for MSFM. Being a professional course-based master's, are courses scheduled and operated like an undergraduate course or more field and work experience based?
Yeah, they're similar to undergraduate courses in that there is like a registered time that you are showing up for class, and there can be lab components or seminars, as well as lectures. They are graduate level courses though, so the like demand and intensity is I would say different than an undergraduate course. We also in MSFM have 2 different capstone courses, and so partway through the term, the whole cohort is gone for a week in the field. And so all the other courses pause. And that operates well in this system because it's a cohort-based program. So you're with the same 24 students in pretty much all your courses other than the F-Core one, which all the course-based masters are together.
That's great. Thanks for that insight. That's awesome. Excellent. So yeah, final call for questions. Let us know if you've got any final questions before we wrap up in 5 or 6 minutes. Maybe I can ask while we wait for any final questions. Maybe if I can ask each of our panelists for each program, like, what are you most excited about in your program? What are you really excited about it at the moment? You know, for the next cohort joining, or what any exciting developments in your programs? Would anyone want to start us off on that one?
I can start start.
Thank
Not
you.
necessarily like an exciting development, but every year I think I am always interested to, meet the students who are in the program, and I describe it as every year the program has sort of a different flavor or a different sort of personality. And for me, watching how the students sort of come in and mesh with each other and build these, lifelong relationships that, I see continue well past the program, and the support that they provide each other is like, to me, one of the most exciting parts of the program. So, this network that's built is incredibly strong and robust. And every single year, I love the first day where no one really knows each other, and I watch how quickly that accelerates into this like close-knit, supportive, um, interconnected web of people. And that's always my like favorite part. And I can see Anna and Sarah are nodding their heads along to that. So that's my take.
You took my speaking notes for that.
Yes.
No, yeah, I was gonna like say the exact same thing. It's the cohorts themselves, like the students, and I find like they come with such diverse backgrounds, and that really shapes the whole year. For example, right now, this year we have a student who used to work for the CRA, used to be an accountant, that is doing a career shift. As someone who used to work in oil and gas in Texas, that has a PhD in like neuroscience, that is doing a big shift. And then so you have these people with really rich experiences, and they bring that into the classroom, and you see a lot of peer-to-peer learning. Like as much as you're learning from these world-class faculty, the students really learn from one another, and it's a really lovely thing to see.
That's great.
I'll echo that too. The community that we're building across alumni. I think just today, Kathleen said the exact right thing in our big annual networking event where many, many alumni are going to come back and meet with our current cohorts. So each cohort being its own flavor, bringing their own passions, their own areas of inquiry, and being able to share that across the different years. We have a strong connection with our alumni. I think that's what I'm most proud of right now for the program.
That's awesome.
And just to add, I mean, the diversity of applicants has been mentioned for numerous occasions today. And I think what that encourages is not just peer learning, but also a two-way process of learning. And I go into the classroom every day, sometimes being challenged from people with different worldviews and different experiences and different backgrounds. And I learn a lot from being in class with the Masters of International Forestry students every day. And it's a fantastic experience. And I love that two-way learning process.
Thanks, that's great. Thanks, everyone. Sarah, question from Tom. For urban forestry, are there any thought leaders or books that you would recommend? Okay. Oh, I think you're muted, Sarah.
Thought leaders. We do work closely with Dr. Cecil Knishendijk. He's coming to join the program. He works with our program. He's got a new book, and I'm just trying to remember the title. It's a fantastic one. I've been sending it to students. We have a textbook, the Routledge Handbook of Urban Forestry. If you're trying to get up to speed on urban forestry, it's open in the UBC library. It can be a good start for books. Why don't we, if someone asks for a book list, I think all of us are just like rubbing our hands, happy to put one together. I'm not going to do it completely on the spot. Those are two things that have come to mind, but happy to send along a book list if you send me an email to get you ready for the program.
Wonderful. I think that would go for all of our program leaders if you reach out to them. That's excellent. Okay. Okay, so we're at the end of the hour here. Thanks for all of the really great questions. We've had some really great insight into these 4 professional programs, so I hope it's been helpful. I just posted in the chat sort of the general email, so do reach out to us if you have specific questions about your application, or if you'd like to be connected with one of the panelists today. I think Rebecca could connect you or forward your questions on, and we're happy to do that. Would anyone have any final words or final thoughts to wrap things up for today? I just want to say a really big thank you to you all. I know you're all busy, so thanks so much for giving up this hour or so out of your busy schedules. Thanks to all of our panelists. Thank you all at home for listening. It's been great. We'll be following up by email with the recording and some next steps. But good luck with your applications. We hope those go well. And we're really excited to see you soon at UBC Vancouver. But we'll say goodbye for now. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.